All right, so now that we've done some decomposition of our problem and we kind of know what it is that we're getting into, let's start talking about planning out how we're going to like make the board and make the X's and make the O's and all that stuff. Okay, so we've had a little bit of a discussion about how we're going to do this. One way to think about this is to kind of plan out where we want our hash marks to go. Okay, so we know that from the left side of the board all the way over to the right side of the board, since this is a My World program, is going to be 500 pixels. Okay, so one thing you might say is like, we don't want the board to go across the whole thing because it might just look a little bit weird, but maybe what we want to do is say that there's like a little buffer area that we're not using on the left, on the bottom, right on the right, and on the top. Okay, so we're going to say basically that we're not using that area. And if we set that buffer area to be 10 pixels, okay, so again, if that's 10 pixels, all right, then we can go ahead and we can say basically that the remaining area, so from here to here, is 500 minus the two buffer areas, so minus 20. So we're going to not use that space that I'm kind of shading in there. Okay, so that equals 480. And if you think about it, what I really want to do is I want to draw a line kind of here and here, right? And then I want to draw a line maybe around here and here. And I may not be doing a perfect job, but I'm doing an okay job. And so I want to take that 480 pixels and I want to divide it into how many parts? Into 3 parts. So I'm going to say that 480 divided by 3 gives me 160 pixels, right, for each square, okay, or each space that we have. All right, so what we want to do is we want to be able to plan out how we're going to draw this line and then do the same thing for each line that we have. Okay, and so if this point right here is at x equals 10 and this is 160 pixels across, then what is the x coordinate of that point right there? 170, right? All right, and if this buffer area is 10 pixels, then what is the y coordinate of that point right there? Like if we wanted to go right up to the buffer, 10, right? Okay, so that should be the point 170, 10. And the reason that we're doing this is so that we can, when we start programming, we can just plug numbers in because we've already done all the planning for ourselves. Okay, so that's really what we're trying to do, is establish where everything is going to be. Okay, let's think about this point down here for the same line. So this point is at what in terms of x? So you're not thinking about x right now. So the x coordinate is going to be no. The same as what? 170. Yeah, it's going to be 170, right? The x coordinate is going to be 170, and now you're going to give me the answer for the y coordinate, which is, yeah, which is what you were saying before. Good. Okay, so that's 170 comma 490. All right. So again, what we said was this from here to here is 160, and that's true for all of these. So this from here to here is 160. From here to this other edge is 160. So if this is 170, what is this x coordinate right there? 170 plus 160. Good. So what is that? 330. Okay? And so what I want you guys to be able to do is to be able to fill in all of these coordinates so that when we get to programming this, you just have to fill in the appropriate coordinates for each point that make up each line. Okay? So we want to be able to do that. All right? And so I'm going to come around and kind of help you guys out individually if you need it. Okay? Just to kind of get you started here, the x coordinate right here, okay, that's going to be 10. And then you got to think about, well, what's my y coordinate going to be for that point? Okay? If you finish that, all right, then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to think about, like we said, that one of the requirements is for this project is that our shapes, our x's and our o's, are going to be centered inside of each of these squares. So the other thing I want to figure out is, what is my center point for each of these squares? Because that's where I want to draw either my x or my o. So I want to think about what's that center point, what's that center point, all the way down the line. So I should find 9 center points, and I should find, I guess, 8 coordinates to make up my 4 lines. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing with the rest of the class period.